Hello! Hi, I'm Georgia, and today we are talking about my favourite topic, books. Last year I read a book a week. Thank you, I know. It's a very arbitrary and self-imposed success, and yet it's one that I achieved.
Wow.
If you are setting yourself a goal to read more books, then in this video I'm going to cover my hot tips for reading more, as well as the 52 books that I read last year, just in case you need any recommendations. So, I love books. I think they are the most affordable way to learn new things. A little old book, this one for example, costs £12. So that is some affordable knowledge right there. I also find it a much safer and more calm environment to learn, rather than having this shouty kind of sound bites of information through social media or other formats. That can all be very kind of all-consuming and tiresome, versus a book I find truly rejuvenating. So yeah, highly love reading is the point of that spiel. Okay, my number one tip, these aren't actually ranked, they are all of equal importance in my opinion. But to kick us off, the first tip is to use the library. I cannot recommend the library enough. Of course, it is going to be dependent on your circumstances and your library. But regardless, I still think the library should be your first port of call if you want to get into reading. And there's two main reasons for that. The first is cost, aka it's nothing, it's free. Well, technically speaking, you do pay council taxes, but you have to do that anyway. You may as well get to benefit from the library as well. And although all of this knowledge for £12 is so affordable, if you do plan to read 52 books, all of a sudden that's adding up to over £600. So obviously not everyone can afford that. That's a lot of money to outlay on books. And so therefore the next best thing is the library. And the other benefit is that the library helps remove analysis paralysis. So imagine you've ordered a bunch of books throughout the month, and you have this massive stack of books like that one where you don't know where to begin. So all of a sudden you're overwhelmed by choice and you might begin nowhere. Versus a library, you have a digital catalogue of books that you have on hold, and then as they become available, the library lets you know which ones are available for you to borrow, and all of a sudden the choice is not on you anymore. It's just down to the library and when they are available. Okay, so after you've been using the library, another tip for reading more is to not be precious. And what I mean by that is let a book go. This is probably the most important lesson. I'll probably say that for each of them. But in my opinion, if a book is not resonating with you, put it aside, let it go. It's not meant to be right now. And that's the important part. Books exist for many reasons, but one of the reasons is to help you come to terms with things in your life at different stages or points in your life. Which means there are many books for many life stages. And if this book, even if everyone recommended it to you, is not resonating with you right now, then I think you should honor that and move on, rather than push through and read something that you're clearly not enjoying and that is going to stop you from enjoying the sweet nectar of knowledge that all the other books can provide you with. However, one caveat here is that reading is all about kind of expanding your horizons and reading from diverse perspectives and opinions. So you don't want to fall into a trap of just reading from, I guess, the white cis male authors that have historically had better chances of being published. They've had plenty of airtime. Make sure you are diversifying your reading list and learning when you're not enjoying a book because it's not for you right now, and when you're not enjoying a book because maybe it's a perspective or experience that is unfamiliar or uncomfortable for you, and therefore by skipping it you would miss out on learning that new perspective. Okay, my third tip, consider a Kindle. I know, everyone says it, and I was always like, I'm not a Kindle gal, I read physical books. I am all about that sweet, textural, beautiful paper. How could I ever read a book that isn't on paper? But alas, Liam got a Kindle and I had FOMO. All of a sudden, Liam had access to books within minutes versus my weeks or days if I ordered them. I was pretty jealous. Also, we moved overseas, and when I moved overseas, I had to let go of hundreds of books that I'd accumulated over so many years, books that I loved dearly, but that really kind of changed my relationship with the physicality of books, and it made me question how many books I need to own myself versus how many books, I can read in other formats. So I went out and I got myself a Kindle, and now I'm a Kindle gal. It is very, 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 very helpful for reading more. I am a huge fan of the Kindle. And the Kindle really helped me power through books. And the reason was, first of all, I could access a book anywhere at any time. So when we were traveling last year, I could always get an English version of a book. And the other helpful aspect was that I was better able to find moments in my day where I could pick up the Kindle. Even when I'm just commuting, my Kindle fits really nicely in my little bag. It takes up almost no room and I can just pull it out on the tube and get an extra 15 minutes in that way. So I'm finding many more moments to read because of the Kindle. So that's why I kind of have really liked it. And if Kindle isn't in your budget, then another great option is using Libby. So Libby is a little app on your phone and you connect it to your library, and on your phone you can just read your books. It's pretty cool. Tip number 4 is, okay, I don't know if this is a tip or just like a fact, but fiction is dope. I love fiction books, and I think that a lot of people get caught up in the idea of only reading non-fiction as though like fiction is less than, and that is obviously not true. I personally think that there are more lessons in fiction books and that people's bookshelves or their reading lists should sway more heavily towards fiction books. Good fiction gives us a chance to reflect on our own and others' cultures. It allows us to imagine alternative futures, which is like pretty powerful. And most importantly, they allow us to take away our own lessons that we've built from our interpretation of the story that the author has created for us. Okay, so the 5th and final tip for reading a book a week is to keep track of your books and keep track of the books you want to read. So why is it important to keep track of the books? Well, obviously at the end of the year you can flex to everyone how many books you've read. That's really important. But also, by keeping track of the books that you're reading, it helps build momentum. So you start to see the amount of books that you're getting through, and that starts to on-ramp you to reading more. And why is it important to keep track of the books you want to read? When you have a long list of books that you're wanting to read, you can always refer back to that list for inspiration for what to buy or borrow next. You can also use your lists to hold yourself accountable to the type of authors that you're reading from to make sure that you're getting that diverse experience and therefore broadening your horizons and your opinions and learning about others' experiences. So that's that. I hope that you have the best time reading many books this year. I hope that however many you choose to read, you get through. And if you need book recommendations, then these are the 52 books that I read this year. And I have about 12 that I would highly recommend if you want to add them to your recommendations list, if you happen to like books that I like. Okay, let's start from the top. The Body Keeps the Score, that's one that I highly recommend everybody reading. Just Like You, What a Time to Be Alone, Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. Homegoing, this is another book I highly recommend everyone to read. Wish You Were Here, How We Love, Heartsick, How to Do the Work, Wild Abandon, It Ends With Us, The Switch, The Body Keeps Your Secrets, The Gifts of Imperfection, that's one I really liked and recommend. We Need to Talk About Money, another one I highly recommend. The Defining Decade, Atomic Habits, After I Do, Wild Place, Daring Greatly, Know My Name, Survivors, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Homebody, My Body, Below Deck, People You Meet on Vacation, Principles, Show Your Work, Steal Like an Artist. That's another book I recommend. So much so that I made an entire video about the lessons I learnt. So if you want to watch that video, check it out. Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before? Verity, You Are a Badass, Ugly Love, Send Nudes. This book I highly recommend, really enjoyable collection of short stories. A Slow Fire Burning, Keep Going, I'm Glad My Mum Died, another book. I think everyone else has recommended it, but I actually read this in one day. I could not put it down. Love and Virtue, this is another book I highly recommend. It's all set across Sydney, so it was so nice to read and just like know all of the locations, all of the streets, just everything in this like world I could see. My Year of Rest and Relaxation, Sorrow and Bliss. Sorrow and Bliss is a heavy read, but I highly recommend it. How to Kill Your Family, The Culture Map, Reminders of Him, Crying in H Mart, You Made a Fool of Death, Nightcrawling. Nightcrawling I highly recommend. This was, it just really shows the story of a person who exists on the fringes or the margins of society and just truly falls through the cracks in terms of any support necessary. Like, it's a super powerful read. Word Slut. And this is a book I highly recommend. It's one that I literally told everyone that I know to read, but essentially it completely changed my relationship to language and how I use words and how words are so gendered in a way that can be quite detrimental and supports the patriarchy in shutting up women. So I really highly recommend Word Slut if you want to like understand your relationship with language as a woman. Midnight Library, Mad Honey, Exciting Times, The 7 Necessary Sins of Women and Girls was my final read, which is why I have a copy of it right here, and I highly recommend this book as well. That's why I have been showing it to you so often. This was strong. This made me angry, this book, like angry for the patriarchy and racism and everything. Like, this will make you feel something. So that was the 52 books I read last year. It was a great time. I highly recommend checking out any of the books that sound like they might be of interest to you. Happy reading, Happy New Year, have a fabulous time. Bye.